Solving multi-step equations. Goal of this lesson: by the end of this lesson, students will be able to solve multi-step equations by using the step-by-step process presented to them in class. They will also be able to check their answers by plugging them back into the original problem. So, step by step. First thing, steps I'm going to add. There's going to be 6 steps in solving these equations. Step number 1. If there are any parentheses with variables on the inside, distribute the number on the outside to both the numbers on the inside. For example, 3 times in parentheses x plus 3. You want to distribute the number 3 on the outside to the numbers on the inside to eliminate the parentheses so that you can solve for the variable. So 3 times x, or 3x, and plus 3 times 3, or also known as 9. 3 times 3 is 9. Okay. You can also do this for division. Okay, remember we talked about those parentheses that are assumed in the numerator and the denominator. I have x plus 4 divided by 2. I can also distribute that to both of those, the divided by 2. I can have x divided by 2 plus 4 divided by 2, which gives me x divided by 2 plus 2. These are the same thing. Step 2, simplify each side by combining like terms. Sometimes we have terms on both sides of the equation that are the same. Remember, you can only combine things that are alike, okay, when you're adding and subtracting. You can only combine things that are alike. For example, if you have a bag of, let's say, M&Ms, and you wanted to add Skittles to them, okay, you could have 10 M&Ms in a bag and add 10 Skittles. You don't have 20 Skittle-Ms. No, you have 10 M&Ms and 10 Skittles. You cannot combine those because they are not alike. However, if you have 10 Skittles in a bag and you add 10 more Skittles, since they are alike, you now have 20 Skittles. Same thing as with X's and Y's. Here I have 4 X's. I cannot combine Y's, but I can subtract 3 X's. 4 X's minus 3 X's is 1 X. If I had 4 X's in my hand, you took away 3 of them, I'd have 1 left. Same thing with Y's. I have 5 Y's plus Y. That gives me 6 Y's. 5 plus 1 is 6. So I have plus 6Y. And on this side of the equation, there's nothing to combine, so that just leaves me with 4 plus 6Y. So that's step 2. Simplify each side by combining like terms. Step 3, once you've combined all the like terms, make sure you move the variables to the same side of the equation. Okay, it doesn't matter which side, left or right, you get to choose, but you have to move them from one side to the other. How am I able, if you look at this example, 3x minus 4 equals 2x plus 3, actually this step actually gives you an easy hint. Subtract the smaller one. That way you don't end up with negatives. So 3x minus 4 equals 2x plus 3, which is my smaller x? 2x. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. And what happens is 2x minus 2x is just 0 x's. So on this side, I'm just left with 3. And on this side, 3x minus 2x is 1x. And now I only have 1x to solve for, and it's just like a 2-step equation like we had before. Step 4. Once all the variables are on the same side, begin to isolate the variable by adding or subtracting the constant. So in this case, add 4, just like we did in the 1-step equations. So I have x equals 7. Finally, multiply or divide by the coefficient of the variable. So in this case, divide by 2, x equals 2. And finally, check your original problem. Don't forget to do your check. So let's do an example, okay? The equations are starting to look a little bit more difficult. Don't stress out, just go step by step. Step 1 says, eliminate all parentheses if they have a variable on the inside. Well, I do. I have parentheses with a variable on the inside right here, 5a. How do we eliminate? We distribute the 5 on the outside. So I'm going to take that 5 and multiply it by each term on the inside. 5 times 5a, well 5 times 5 is 25 times a, plus 5 times 3 is 15, equals 12a minus 29 plus 2a. Okay, now think back. If you want to look back at your steps, you can go ahead and do that. Let's look at our steps. After we distribute, what's the next step? Simplify each side by combining like terms. All right, let's go ahead and do that. Combine like terms. Where did my problem go? There it is. Combine like terms. So I do not have any more a's on this side, but I do have multiple a's on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and combine 12a plus 2a is 14a. And now I still have a 29 minus 29. And I have a 25a plus 15 on this side. Now, the next step, if you look back, I'm not going to look back again, is get all your variables to one side of the equation. Choose the smaller variable and subtract it from both sides. So my smaller is 25a or 14a smaller. 14a, so I'm going to subtract 14a from both sides. 25 minus 14 is 11 a's plus 15 equals negative 29. Don't forget that negative that's in front of that 29. And now it looks exactly like the two-step equations we just did previously. Get rid of your subtraction and addition first. So I'm going to subtract 15. So I have 11a equals negative 29 minus 15 is negative 44. Now I'm going to divide by 11. A equals negative 4. Now we have to check that. So let's plug in negative 4. So I have 5 times negative 4 plus 3 equals 12 times negative 4 minus 29 plus 2 times negative 4. Okay, order of operations, work the parentheses first. So in here I have 5 times, and then in parentheses, 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. Oops. Plus 3 equals, and on this side of the equation you can work it as a separate order of operations. Remember, order of operations can be done as an expression, which in this case you could always just count this right side as its own separate expression. So we would use a multiplication first. 12 times negative 4 is negative 48 minus 29 plus 4 times negative, or 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. Okay, so now it's already starting to look a little bit better. On the left side, my expression, I'm going to keep going when inside of parentheses. So I have negative 20 plus 3, which gives me negative 17 times 5 equals, now I have only addition subtraction left, so I'm going to go left to right. Negative 48 minus 29, negative 77 plus negative 8. And now set negative 17 times 5, or 5 times negative 17, negative 85. And then on this side, negative 77 plus negative 8 is negative 85. So they check out. Negative 4 is the correct answer on, oops, this side of right here. That is correct. Let's do another problem. Okay, so for this one, oh, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all the parentheses. Now you might not see them at first, but there are parentheses here. Okay, so I do want to go ahead and get rid of the parentheses. If you remember, there are parentheses right here. Okay, so I have 3x divided by 3 plus 9 divided by 3 plus 6 equals 13. They might look like scary fractions, but they're really not. They're just division. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So I just have x plus 3 plus 6 equals 13. Now combine like terms on both sides. In this case, 3 plus 6 is 9. So I have x plus 9 equals 13. Now how do I get rid of the plus 9? If you remember from my two-step equation, 1 and 2-step, opposite of addition is subtraction. Subtract 9. And I'm left with x equals 4. Let's check our answer. So we had 4, so I'm going to put in 3 times 4 plus 9 over 3 plus 6 equals 13. I forgot my other arrow here. Sorry about that. That bugs me. 3 times 4. Remember, this whole thing is in parentheses, so we have to do all that first. Hopefully I've said that enough times that you'll remember. So 3 times 4 goes first, which is 12. And then I'm left with plus 9 divided by 3 plus 6 equals, we don't know yet because we're checking. And now we're going to continue doing the top here because it's in parentheses. So 12 plus 9 is 21 divided by 3 plus 6. 21 divided by 3 is 7. 7 plus 6 is 13, which checks out. That all that means is that this is my correct answer.